Hello friends, welcome back. So in the previous session we saw what are the challenges associated with the microservices. We saw what could be the problem that we can face in a microservices. So in this session we'll see the Spring Cloud. So basically Spring Cloud is not a one project. We cannot say this is the one project. Okay, so Spring Cloud is basically umbrella. Under this umbrella there is a multiple project are associated with Spring Cloud. So let me show you first. So if you can go to the Spring Cloud, okay, and the spring.io website, so it will route to the Spring Cloud session. So if you see here, so there are many projects are associated with Spring Cloud. So Spring Cloud config servers, Spring Cloud Netflix. So Netflix is the company which had started doing the POC or R&D on the microservices. So there are multiple Netflix component we will be using, Eureka, Hystrix, Joule and all. Okay, so there is a Spring Cloud Bus. Okay, there is Spring Cloud Foundry. Okay, Open Service Brokers, Cluster. So these are the all security. These are the all the projects. Okay, are under the umbrella of Spring Cloud. So here we will be using the Netflix version of the Spring Cloud, and we will be using the version 2.0. So here eventually 2.0 release we will be using here. Okay, so these are the all you can go and see, but for the eventually we will be using the 2.0 version. Okay, so if you are not need to worry about, if you are not understanding all these things, we will be covering this in upcoming steps. So we will going through all these things: Spring Cloud config, Netflix, CloudBurst, Ribbon. We will going through all the steps, and we will show you programmatically in a Spring Boot how can we implement almost all the Spring Cloud project with Netflix. Okay, so let's see. So in the earlier the main challenge was the configuration management. So configuration management is very important aspect in the case of microservices. So what configuration management says in microservices, your all the configuration of all your microservices should be in a single repository. Okay, so for the initially for this step we'll show you only, see, this is the one microservice, currency calculator service, which calculates the currency. We'll see, don't worry about what is this microservices, what is going to do. So we'll see in a programmatical way, we'll explain you each and everything in steps. So this is another microservice, exchange service. This is another microservice, lattice service. So all the microservices are talking to Spring Cloud config service, and this is the service which are responsible to talk to Git repository and retrieve all the configuration of all the environment. Like limit services can be deployed to QA environment, to dev environment, to stage environment, to DR environment and production environment. So whatever the limit service will ask to the Spring Cloud config servers, it will look for that environment configuration in Git repository, and it will take it out and forward to the respective microservices. So this is the benefit. So you don't need to to maintain the individual configuration in every microservices. So that should be a single repository. So maintenance will be too easy. Okay, so for this purpose we will be using that. So other is dynamic scale up and scale down. Okay, so in the previous session we have seen that what are the challenges come up with the dynamic scale up and scale down. So in the festival season, okay, or any load is coming, okay, in the currency exchange service, it will dynamically scale up, and the one microservices, that is currency exchange service, can bring up the another instance. So in this diagram it's looking one instance, two instance, and the three instance. So in the dynamic scale up and scale down, how will you achieve in Spring Cloud? So basically there are three things using which we will be achieving the dynamic scale and down. So first is the naming server. So we will be using the Eureka naming server here. Okay, so it basically does two things: the service registration and the discovery service. So all the microservices need to do the registration on the naming server. So basically whoever the service wants to communicate with other service, it will have to first go to the discovery server, and discovery server will have all the information of all the microservices. So nothing to worry about. We will see practically, and we'll explain, and we'll see more into, we'll go more into the naming server. So if we're not understanding much, nothing to worry about, we'll see in a details. And second is the ribbon, client side load balancing. So ribbon is used to load and distribute the load basically among the microservices. So at any point of time, your microservices are getting scale up. So how the load will balance, how the load will get distributed, how many requests should go to the one currency exchange service 1, how it should go to the currency exchange service 2, and how much it should go to the currency exchange service 3. So that is the work of the ribbon. Okay, and other is the fan. This is basically a REST client. So the one microservices wants to communicate with the other microservices. Okay, so how this will communicate? So for that only we will be using the fan. So this is nothing, it's a REST client through which one microservices can communicate with other microservices. Now other challenge was visibility and monitoring. Okay, so this was the challenges. So how one will come to know what is the going inside the microservices, how will you monitor the microservices, because there is a n number of microservices. There could be 50, there could be 100. Okay, so how will you monitor, how one will look inside the microservices? So for that we will be using the Zipkin distributed tracing mechanism and the Netflix API gateway. So nothing worry about that. We will discuss each and everything in a detail, and will make sure you will get understand. Let's move ahead. The other is basically the how the the naming server and the ribbon will come into the picture, that we saw in our last slide. So let's see the example. Like there is a one service, and there is a currency exchange service 1, 2 and 3, and currency exchange service wants to talk to these services using the API, and between, see, this is the services has been scaled up. So there is a 3 instance of currency services running. So how the current calculation service will come to know which services the request need to be routed. So the ribbon is here. So ribbon, just we saw, the ribbon is basically a load balancer which is responsible to take a request and route the request to the appropriate microservices instance. So the ribbon will be hosted by the naming server. You saw the naming server. So whichever microservices wants to communicate with other microservices, first it will have to reach to the naming server and the discovery server. So discovery server will look where the particular services are running. Okay, so let's see. So nothing to worry about that, we'll see details. And other is the fault tolerance. So in a series of microservices, if one of the microservices goes down, how it will tolerate the fault. So we will be using the Hystrix mechanism. Hystrix Spring Cloud project we will be using. So in the case of one of the services are getting down, so Hystrix will return the default value so that the chain of the microservices should not be broken down. Okay, so this is all about the Spring Cloud. Just I gave you the overview. So in the next step we will be seeing the advantage of the microservices, and thereafter we will start the practical session of implementing all these things step by step, so that you can have a clear idea how we'll be writing the microservices using the Spring Boot, how will ensure that your microservices is a REST enable microservices which can be scaled up and scaled down in a cloud. So thanks.